You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I am your host, Trizzy, Trace Giroaurd. I've had some time to sit and think about last night's game, or yesterday's game, I should say. Saints losing to the Bears, 1-6 start. It's really, really frustrating, and I'm going to be honest, it's, kind of disgusting to really think about it. And I had a moment of realization, I'm rooting for probably the one team in the NFL that's 1-6, that actually is a lot better than 1 of 6. And I'm sitting here thinking, probably rooting for the best crappy team. And fun fact, the New Orleans Saints are in the midst of the worst start since 1999. That's heartbreaking. It's upsetting. But it's the reality of the world we live in. I don't think that the panic alarm needs to go off, but it is something that's upsetting. Quick reminder before we get into Overreaction Monday, injury updates on Kendre Miller and Eric McCoy should be coming out later today. We're going to be live this afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Time to give you guys updates on these injuries. And on top of that, we're also going to go through a mock draft, have some fun, get ready for the draft. And we're, of course, going to be doing a lot of interactive content. So make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss out on any of the content. And we will see you guys later on live here at Saints Now. Now, first overreaction, we're going to talk about it. You probably saw it in the title or on the thumbnail. Bench Spencer Rattler! Now, should the Saints bench Spencer Rattler? The answer is probably no. Not yet. Not right now, at least. I think that would actually be kind of a bad decision, and it would really set Tyler Shough up for failure, and honestly, it would really destroy the confidence of Spencer Rattler. But you have to have this conversation because at what point do we say, all right, we've seen enough? He has a record of 1-12, and I'm not going to sit here and hold that over his head. He is not responsible solely for most of those losses. In fact, he is a big reason why in a lot of those losses, the Saints were very competitive. And it's fair to say throughout this season, he has been much, much better than he was last year in his rookie campaign. And the big theme with the Saints offense is they struggle to finish, not just finishing drives, but they struggle to finish plays. They struggle to finish, their tackles. They struggle to finish everything on the defensive side of the ball. This team just struggles to finish. But the offense struggles to finish drives in a big, big way. And they struggle to create explosive plays. And when you consider the facts that the Saints took a quarterback with a top 50 pick in the most recent NFL draft, you got to eventually see why you drafted that player top 50. And Spencer Rattler, I'm not going to sit here and say he's been bad. I want it to be abundantly clear. I don't think Spencer Rattler is the reason Saints are losing games. I also don't think Spencer Rattler is the reason Saints are winning games. He's 18th in yards in the NFL. His QBR is 55.4. It's 17th in the league. He does have 155 yards on the ground, and that's an area of his game that's really come alive. And I'm not going to sit here and say that we need to bench Spencer Rattler. I think it's an overreaction. It's something I've seen on social media. It's something I've seen in my comment section. And even on the live show yesterday, I was getting really frustrated and getting really mad and thinking, man, we might as well start warming Shough up. I will say he's been good enough this season to forgive this bad game. I think that when you consider the New Orleans Saints and their situation on offense, in their situation as a whole, they're very early in a rebuild. I'm also going to say I'm tired of good enough. I want great quarterback play. Maybe I'm spoiled because my parents didn't screw at a sooner point and I wasn't born in the dog days of Saints football, so I'm so sorry. But I want great quarterback play. I've seen it. I got a taste of it. Now I want the whole damn thing. I want it again. And I'm not going to apologize for that. And I will say, with Tyler Shough, I would like to see why Kellen Moore believed in him. I would like to see why Kellen Moore took him with the 40th overall selection. And I will say, Tyler Shough, whether it's this season, whether it's next season, whether it's 2 or 3 years from now, you will see him get a shot. So I'm not trying to sit here and say Spencer Rattler needs to get off the field. It's an overreaction. This is Overreaction Monday. But you do need to see what Tyler Shough is capable of doing. And I will not apologize for wanting to see a quarterback that's drafted in the top 50 get on the field. I'm simply not going to. You can sit here and say, you're a Rattler hater, you're a Shough lover, blah, 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 blah. You can say whatever the hell you want, man. I'm not going to apologize for it. I want to see what a top 50 quarterback has. We would be having this conversation, by the way, if it was Tyler Shough, if it was Shedeur Sanders, if it was Jalen Milroe, or if it was any other quarterback that was taken. We would be saying, oh my God, I want to see the top 50 quarterback on the field at some point. Let that marinate. I'm not going to apologize for wanting to see what this guy is capable of doing. He had some good moments in the preseason, and I want to see why Kellen Moore believed in him enough to take him 40th overall. Now, who should start? I'm going to keep typing my SRs because I don't think that you need to take Spencer Rattler off the field yet, but I do think that it is worth a conversation, and I do think as the bye week gets here, that's something to think about as well to make a quarterback change. Now, second overreaction, should we trade Pete Werner? I actually don't think there's much of an overreaction. I would think about trading Pete Werner. There's one thing that really comes to mind with this. It's the linebacker rotation. Yesterday, we saw a lot of movement, and a lot of it was with Pete Werner going off the field and Stutsman or Isaiah Stallbird or Jalen Ford getting on the field next to Demario Davis. I even tweeted it out in the middle of the game yesterday. Pete Werner, in my opinion, is going to get moved. Like, you saw how the linebacker room was rotated in. We saw Pete Werner get 37% of the snaps, or 37 total snaps. That was 54% of the defense. 69 total snaps for what it's worth. Danny Stutsman played 23% of those snaps. You saw Isaiah Stallbird get a handful. You saw Jalen Ford get on the field. It really makes me think that because Danny Stutsman is getting an increasing role, you will see Pete Werner get moved. And for what it's worth, Danny Stutsman only took 16 snaps against Chicago, but he was more productive than Pete Werner. Statistically, he had more tackles, and he was more of an impactful player, I guess you could say, by the box score. So I do think that when you consider the teams out there that might need a linebacker, and still a lot of these teams are teams that are trying to still compete or trying to keep making moves and trying to stay alive or try to get over the hump to be an elite team to really contend for Super Bowl, I think Pete Werner could be an upgrade for a lot of teams out there. I mean, the 49ers, for example, they are decimated by injuries. Fred Warner's out for the season. Maybe they want Pete Werner. I could totally see them being interested in it. The Patriots, I know that they could use an upgrade on defense. The Colts, they just recently cut a linebacker, making people believe that maybe they are in the works of bringing one in. The trade deadline is less than a month away, and I do think Pete Werner's a player that could inevitably get moved. Now, when we have the conversation about trading Pete Werner, I don't necessarily know if it'll happen, but I do think that it's something to consider. I believe Danny Stutsman, his role's emerging. Demario Davis, he ain't going anywhere, and I think Pete Werner could be on the move. Couple more overreactions to get to here in just one moment, but first things first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor. It is Tushy. Keep that hiney shiny with a Tushy bidet. Calling the Saints a crappy team, although they're 1-6, it doesn't really sting as much now that I have a Tushy bidet. And although New Orleans is rebuilding, it's never too soon to plan for a Super Bowl season. Installing a Tushy bidet makes bathroom visits so much more comfortable for your guests and your pipes. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with the Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom, and every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. I'm not an electrician. I'm not a plumber. I didn't go to trade school. I don't know how to do all this stuff, but it's so easy to install. I like to say even a Falcons fan could do it. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty, and people who have made the switch to Tushy use up to 80% less toilet paper. So no more clogged toilets, no more wasting money and on something that does an inferior job cleaning your body. And remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. So for a limited time, listeners to Saints Now by Chat Sports can click the link in the comments and description of this video to get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code CHAT. Click the link in the comments and description to keep that hiney shiny with a Tushy. Now, this one isn't much of an overreaction because it's actually sort of something that's in the works, but Chris Olave had an awesome day against the Chicago Bears. So, overreaction, extend him. But guess what? It's already in the works. So reports from Dianna Russini came out over the weekend that Chris Olave and the New Orleans Saints are actually working on a contract extension despite being at the center of a lot of trade rumors. And even Olave was asked about it after the game, and he said, quote, "We have been having conversations since like the beginning of the year." And it is worth noting the Saints did pick up his fifth-year option. They did want to keep him around for an extra year. So it's not like you have to make the decision right here, right now. But it is interesting to see that the Saints, rather than opting to move their wide receiver one, they are looking to keep him around. And I actually think that that's a good idea for a few reasons. One being, if you traded away one of these wide receivers, it would directly impact the quarterback play as well, and you wouldn't be able to get a good evaluation on them. It would hurt the development of these players, but also because I think right now you could buy low with Chris Olave. And with number 12, maybe he's willing to take a hometown discount. Maybe he's willing to have a realistic approach to it and say, I know that I am worth more than what I know that I'm capable of doing more, but I'm going to take a little bit less money with a lot of incentives, with the potential to possibly get a pay raise in a couple of seasons to prove that he is a valuable part of the offense, because I think that he is a player that can be valuable to this offense. He's been on the record saying he loves New Orleans. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He loves the city. He wants to be here forever. And this season, it's been very, very rocky. And there's been highs, there's been lows. It's kind of frustrating. He's 7th in receptions, 24th in yards, but 3rd in targets. The math necessarily isn't mathing, but we did get to see Chris Olave have his first multi-touchdown game of his career. We got to see him achieve a new career long in terms of a reception. And I thought overall in Week 7, he was absolutely awesome. It was nice to see number 12 come alive. Like yesterday, that was the player that the Saints traded up to go and draft at Ohio State. That right there, that's the wide receiver one that we wanted. That's the player that we all know and love. That's the guy who was making all those ridiculous contested catches, those one-handed grabs, doing crazy stuff. Like that right there, that's the player that we all know and love. And that's the guy that we want to see in New Orleans. And it's really nice to see him flip the script, put the pass behind him, and have a nice game, because now we can build off of that and we can continue to be a player that contributes. And I think that he's somebody who we haven't seen totally reach the surface, and he's a player that I think you can actually build around. And I really think that Chris Olave had a great game. It almost felt like a resurgence for him yesterday against Chicago. Despite the loss, he was awesome. Now, what would you do with Chris Olave? I want you to let me know in the comment section. Would you trade him? Would you extend him? Be the GM. Put on your Mickey Loomis hat. What do you think? Because I do think it's fair to say maybe we trade him, get some draft capital back. We only have 5 picks, so that is something worth considering. What would you do? Let me know. T or E. All right, last overreaction. I actually believe in this one. Cut him. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I've met Blake Grupe, had the honor of talking with him, got to have an awesome conversation. Great dude. I want it on record. Great dude. Really, really like him as a person. We're done. We got to be done here. I mean, what are we doing? He's missed 4 field goals all of last season. He's already missed 6 this year, guys. He has a 70% field goal rate. And do you want to know something that's ridiculous? That's 33rd in terms of field goal percentage in the entire National Football League. You want to know how many teams there are? There's 32. So let that marinate. Let that settle in for a second. I understand that the yips are a thing. I understand that you have bad days at the office. We can't continue this. Like, what are we doing? That's got to stop. And what I fear is there's actually not a great option right now available. Like, to be totally honest, we should have just never let Will Lutz go. We should have never traded him away. Got a 7th-round pick in return, whatever. Should have never traded him away. He hit a game winner against the Giants yesterday. He's 9-10 this season. And the only time he's missed was on a 42-yard field goal, and it hit off the upright against the Colts. But he's 9-10. The Saints find ways to screw themselves on special teams more and more since Darren Rizzi has left. Like, hand to God, like I knew Darren Rizzi was going to be missed in New Orleans. I didn't realize he was going to be this missed. The Saints have massively screwed themselves because there's not a lot of options out there at kicker. Sure, you can go sign a guy off a practice squad, but he's on the practice squad for a reason. Maybe it's better than Blake Grupe, but he's on a practice squad. You could trade for somebody, but that's giving away more draft assets. Really don't really want to do that, to be honest. You also have a really crappy situation in Kai Kroger as your punter. Like, he's terrible. You either got to sign somebody off a practice squad, you got to trade for someone, or you just got to suffer and suck it up until you get to the offseason you can replace him. And the only other option is Charlie Smith, who's on the practice squad. But I'm going to tell you, the grass isn't necessarily always greener. I'm not saying that a change to kicker wouldn't hurt. I mean, it certainly can't hurt more than it has already. But Charlie Smith is available. He's in New Orleans. Maybe see what's up there. I get it. He's a captain. I'm willing to rip that C right off of Blake Grupe's jersey. Like, it just doesn't – we got to be done here. I can't continue to watch football. I can't continue to watch especially the offense who struggles to finish drives. I can't continue to watch my kicker go out and miss field goals. I can't do that. I don't have the mental strength, and it's really not good for my heart. My family has a history of heart problems. Really not trying to increase that in my life. So for what it's worth, maybe make a change at kicker. I think the best option right now is you just have to suffer. We have to suck it up, and hopefully Blake Grupe out of nowhere turns into prime Garrett Hartley. We got to – no, we're done. Kicker is such a need. I need a new kicker so bad. If you want the Saints to be elite, help me out. I miss it so bad. I miss the Drew Brees days. I miss being elite. I miss seeing this team be fun on Sundays. Like, sure, moral victory. Sure, it's a rebuilding team, but come on, man. Like, this sucks, and I want to be elite. And I know that we're doing the work, but it doesn't mean that it's any less fun. So like the video. We'll see the Saints be elite, and we will see you guys live later on 3 p.m. Central Time. Appreciate you guys for watching, and y'all stay golden.